Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this morning's recipe, we're gonna make slow cooker pork roast. So here's the list of ingredients you're gonna need. You're gonna need 2 pieces of pork tenderloin. You're also gonna need 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning mix, 1 packet of au jus gravy mix, 6 pepperoncinis, a half a cup of water, and 1 stick of unsalted butter. So, I'm gonna actually grab my pair of gloves and then we'll start the recipe. Okay, so we are going, now when we make the recipe, what do we always do before we start any slow cooking? We always spray the slow cooker so then that way nothing sticks to the bottom, okay? So just take note of that, right? So anytime you make a slow cooker recipe, we always spray the slow cooker so that way nothing sticks. Okay, and I'm also gonna turn on an extra light because I need more light than that. So, let's start off by spraying our slow cooker. Now the thing about this crock-pot meal is this slow cooker meal we have done before. Now I'm gonna tell you, I have done this meal with beef. I have done it with pork, and this time we're doing it for tenderloin. Now we need a lot of spray because the pork loin will release its own fat, but this is just so that way the pork can get into the meat. Now we have to spray the sides as well, okay? That's important. Now we're gonna start by putting in 2 pieces of pork tenderloin. Now the pork tenderloin, there is a lot of fat running through it, but don't worry about the fat because I'm probably gonna take the fat out later once it cooks for 8 hours because this is an 8-hour cook, okay? 2 pieces of pork tenderloin in your slow cooker, okay? Fits beautiful. Now, we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning. And what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that this is all over your pork roast, okay? So literally take it and you're gonna put it all over your pork. Now, it's totally fine if this is not like evenly spread it out because throughout the day, everything is gonna get nice and flavorful and this is just gonna go on its merry way. And this is a long slow cooking process, so you know this is gonna cook for 8 hours in the slow cooker, which is okay too. But you wanna make sure that you get that seasoning all over your pork roast, okay? So, I'm just gonna like literally just kinda do this. Now I wanna make sure that this is really, really well seasoned, okay? So we're just gonna season it up like so, and we're gonna flip it around. You wanna make sure that this is all seasoned up real good, so that way the pork is covered in this mixture. Now, you're gonna do the same thing, but with 1 packet of au jus gravy mix. So same idea, you're just gonna put this all in, okay? And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna make sure that this is all covered throughout the meat. We're gonna make sure that this is all distributed, okay? This is the point where you want to make sure that your pork roast is covered in the seasoning, okay? So just kind of just like put it all over the meat, so that way this pork is covered. Now, the next thing you're going to put in 6 pepperoncinis, but I have to take my gloves off because I don't want to put cross-contamination. Once you touch the meat, you do not want to go over to your next ingredient with your gloves on, and you don't want to touch that because then what happens is it's going to be cross-contaminated. Then it's not going to taste really good, okay? I don't think it'd be a good flavor if you have your gloves on, then you stick your hands in the pepperoncinis with your raw when you touch the raw meat. So we're going to take our gloves off, okay? Because we're done with this, and then we're going to do 6 pepperoncinis in this slow cooker. Now this is going to be fine because this can go in the slow cooker, but 6 pepperoncinis. So now what I want to do is I want to put these just in the slow cooker, but I want to put them around. So we have 3, and then we'll put 3 on the other side of the pork because we want to make sure that this pork is well covered. So there you go, 6 pepperoncinis on top of your pork loin, okay? Now, next thing is a half a cup of water in your slow cooker. Now this is going to be great basting liquid. Now as you know, with the slow cooker, the pork is gonna release a lot of its own juice and it's gonna release a lot of its own fat. So we don't need to add any extra water or none of that to the slow cooker because this already has a lot of fat in it. And like I said before, the pork loin is gonna release a lot of its own juice. Okay, now, next thing is 1 stick of unsalted butter. This is gonna go right on top. Actually, no, it's gonna actually go in the middle of the pork loin, like that. Okay, so just like that. And this will melt. The butter is gonna melt, so you don't have to worry about, oh, is my butter gonna melt? It will melt as it starts cooking down, okay? All right, so we've made quite a bit of a mess. Now, what I like to do is here, I like to clean up as I go along. So before we even proceed with the recipe, let's clean up a little bit. Okay? We will have to wash our dishes when we're done, because normally what I do is when I'm done cooking, I usually like to wash my dishes. I don't like to just let them sit there, because then, you know, that's just not professional. Okay, now, I'm gonna wash my hands, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Now, this recipe we have done before. I have done it with beef, I have done it with pork, I have done it with chicken. Today we're making it with pork tenderloin. Okay, so just wash your hands really good, thoroughly, right? You wanna wash them thoroughly, so that way you got all that gross stuff off your hands, right? Okay, so now, this is the easy part. Put your lid on and cook this on low for about 6 to 8 hours until the meat's tender. Okay, it's a long, slow cooking process. And I know it sounds crazy, but you know, you wanna make sure you cook this on low for 6 to 8 hours at least until this is done. Okay, so we're gonna go to select. My slow cooker goes to select. We're gonna go to program, and we're gonna bump this up to 8 hours. Now you can cook this for 9 to 10, but the recipe says, the way I do the recipe, I just cook it on low for 8 hours until the meat's tender. And as you guys know before, we have done a recipe before. Every time I make either this recipe with chicken, pork, or beef, I always use this crock pot because I feel like when we use the slow cooker, the meat becomes more tender. So, low, 8 hours, on low. Oops. We're gonna cook it for 8 hours on low. I'm gonna enter low. All right, there you go. So, I put the lid on low for 8 hours until the meat is really, really tender. We'll come back and we'll show you what the pork roast looks like. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Bye, vlog on. Peace out. Boom. Okay, bye guys.